Too many leaders lead for validation, not impact, for what they can get out of it more than what they can give to it. Hi, my name is Chris, and I'm obsessed with how leaders grow and develop, and I too have insecure moments. We all do. Glad you're here with me now on the Sight Shift podcast so you can learn how to lead for impact, not validation. Hey, welcome to part 6 of this 10-part series. You don't have to hear the other ones to get value out of each lesson. We're in session 6, head shift, define a process. Now, this whole series is about this idea that leadership would be easy, except for the people. And there's this war between vision and people. And that war reconciled for me the day my friend said, Chris, the people are the vision. And I've been obsessed with that ever since. I'd already been obsessed with growing and learning as a leader for about a decade, but this focused the last 15 years of what I've been working on so that I can help leaders go through a head shift, define and lock in on a process to build leaders who build leaders. So we went deep into horizon shift. Now we're in the head shift part. And in the head shift piece, as you define a process, the thing that I want you to understand that so many people make wrong in coaching and in leadership development, and this is what you want to watch out for as you build leaders who build leaders, is we completely circumvent the nature and power of leadership in developing others in coaching. How? Here's how crazy it is to me. What if I got up in front of the organization and I said to the organization, imagine you doing this, team leader, CEO, founder, owner, saying, I have no imagination or idea for what we should do next. Someone tell me where we should go. Get that leader out of here, right? Are healthy leaders listeners? Do healthy leaders get feedback? Do healthy leaders change because of what they hear? Do healthy leaders know how to stay stubborn when they need to? Yes, to all these questions. Healthy leaders do all those things. Healthy leaders listen to how things land, and they listen to the front lines, and they improvise and they pivot. But that leader is coming in with a vision, a 3 to 5 year horizon. Go back to the other episode. That leadership is coming in with a vision and an imagination. If you're waiting on the people you lead to have the imagination for what hasn't happened yet, and for them to come to you with that revelation, you are not the leader. It doesn't mean you got to be like Moses and you got to come down from the mountain with everything. That ain't it. But you're the leader because you have that big vision that's in you, that you want to see happen, that you can look at your team and go, I'm going to do it without you, but I want you to do it with me. You're crazy enough like that. You're my people, by the way. Here's what we do with leadership development coaching. This is why coaching is so broken and leadership development is so broken. We start with a blank canvas. I found this in the coaching industry early on, working with leaders, that most coaching is just making space and asking questions. AI is going to do that better than any human can, shortly. That's not it. When I sit down in a leadership coaching context, I have an imagination for who that person can become. I see more than they see for themselves for who they can become. The magic of that is so powerful. Now, I've drifted into consulting if with forced enthusiasm, I'm pushing that agenda on them, which is what happens in a lot of dysfunctional leadership. They're just pushing the agenda. So I'm not trying to stay so open-ended here, nor am I trying to push it. I'm guiding you through a process. I'm showing up as the leader to guide. You're leading an organization, you're guiding it. This is what you want to do with leadership development. It's not just open-ended. Hey, where do you want to grow? Where do you want to get better? Sure, I want to hear that because I want to take whatever you're saying and integrate that skill into a deeper mindset than you've ever had about yourself. But if I'm going to be the kind of leader who serves you well, I'm actually going to have the audacity to define a process for where we can go. There's lots out there on leadership, tons, academic, business, street level, wherever you want to look. And I'm just asking you to do this. I'm asking you, and we can do it for you, and we love doing it. Pen to paper. Here's how I build leaders from start to finish. Now, for me, my obsession with this is I defined a process. This is what a world-class leader looks like. This is what they can do. They can make meaning for themselves. They can discern direction apart from their insecurities, and they know how to continually renew and advance relationships. If you have somebody who learns how to make meaning for themselves, discern direction, and renew relationships, and they can teach others to do that, you have a leader of leaders who builds leaders. That's everything. So I put that into a process, and I made it a minimum effective dose. I shouldn't have to do this with you for 2 years. We should be able to do this in 4 hours a month or less, in 3 months, in 12 sessions, or we break it down different ways. But what for you have you put pen to paper as a process? See, this is what's so crazy to me when you think about like the financial industry. The financial industry has massively improved over the last 500 years, and you could talk about it in terms of 1,000 years also. Why? Because we've categorized things, we've defined things. Credit and debit, starting there, simple enough. But even as accounting became sophisticated, and we keep improving it. And then a couple of decades ago, you have this new thing called an EBITDA develop, and now that becomes such a common part of business finance language. We have all of these ways of telling a financial story, of measuring things, of codifying things. Leadership doesn't have that. Leadership has not come to the place yet that we have codified and we've defined things. And it's going to take a long time for that to happen. And all I'm trying to do is throw a dart at the wall at a specific target, even if I don't always hit it, to say, what if we defined leadership as a person who is secure in their identity, clear in their mission, and continually building community? They know how to make meaning because they're secure in their identity. They discern direction, they move with clarity, and they renew relationships as they build community. Is that a definition? And if we have a process that we can take people along to get there, is that powerful? Now, if you're wanting to make your own process on this, you put pen to paper, please appreciate this idea. Think about it like a tree. I want you to think about the roots of the tree and the trunk of the tree and the fruit of the tree. If I just asked you to draw a tree, you probably wouldn't draw the roots. But I want you to imagine that the roots are there. The fruit of the tree is the relationships. It's the culture that matters so much. And it's all of the tools that we use to interact with each other in this culture, right? There might be stories we tell or phrases we use, or, hey, date night, that's a tool in my life. That's a system. Systems aren't bad. It's what I bring to the system. If you have a system, it doesn't mean you're corporate in a negative way. We have a date night. How I show up at the date night's key, right, with my wife. At the trunk level, right, we have the doing. So the fruit is the relating. The trunk is the doing. We could think about this also as skills. The root level is the being part. It's the mindset. This is not woo science. Read the book, The Expectation Effect. He boiled it down through all these studies that, number one, mindset is the greatest impact to who you are as a person and your ability to build leaders who build leaders. Now, as soon as I talk about the word mindset, a lot of people get confused because they confuse it with American self-help hype, which is you force a mindset on yourself. I'm going to say it in the mirror enough. I'm going to convince myself I'm going to be that kind of person, and I'm going to will it to be that way. No. You got to get into the root system, and you transform the roots, not through forcing something new in, but through healing the dysfunctional root, through getting the nourishment it needs. At the head shift you need, as you put pen to paper on building a process for leaders, you've got to transform their mindset so that they learn to show up as secure leaders, secure in who they are. They are leaders who lead for impact, not validation. There is no problem your organization faces right now that is a leadership problem that isn't colored by a leader or a group of leaders who are leading for their own validation more than their impact. They're leading for what they can get out of it more than what they can give to it. And because they're leading for their own validation, they're over-indexing on their intuition, or they're overly hampered by the data. Any number of things we could articulate here for how they over and undervalue things. That's what's happening. And if you've been the leader or the owner more than 3 to 5 years, and you're upset or angry or frustrated about the culture, we have to look in the mirror because the culture's you. If you've been there that long, or if it's been your thing that long, The culture's a reflection of you. Now, that's not to beat you up or shame you. It's to say, okay, you want to think about their head shift. You want to put pen to paper. You want to work on their mindset. You want to help them develop and shift their mindset and build the skills and tools to be the tree of these great leaders. Where do you need to commit to a head shift? Put systems in your life to commit to a process to transform. We're here for you. When you're ready, when you want to go through that journey, when you want a before and after experience that you will say is the best investment you've ever made in yourself, that you'll tell friends about, that's what we do. We know how to make an investment in you so that you're transformed and that transformation continues and continues and continues. More at sightshift.com, SIGHTshift.com. Thanks for joining me on this episode. There's always more for you at SightShift, SIGHT, shift.com to be the leader you were meant to be.